मैं इस दुनिया में दोस्त बनने के लिए आया. My closest guy friends are like the closest I've been to being in a marriage. You worked with Shah Rukh Khan and Alia Bhatt and Ranbir Kapoor, and it's just in general, like, this is the city of Bollywood. Perspective comes very easy. One of the great unwritten chapters of my life is that we have not yet played PlayStation with Shah Rukh Khan. Will money solve all of your problems? हमारे टाइम की जनरेशन ना ऑनेस्ट थी. हम लोग ये सब मैनिफेस्टेशन नहीं बोलते. अगर कुछ होता तो बोलते हाँ पापा के कॉन्टैक्ट से हुआ.
Hello, Rohan.
Hello, Bani. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
I am very well. It feels very strange to be having a formal conversation
Yes,
with you, but I am very well.
Other than the hi, nothing has to be formal.
Okay, fantastic. That's very good.
We can go back to just literally bitching about everything.
Bas, that's what I'm here for.
As we ordinarily do.
As we ordinarily do.
We're haters.
Bas, tequila lao. That's it.
Says the non-drinker.
Hey. Yeah. That's a very harsh
One drink of
one
all
drink.
the times
I'm the one
we've met.
drinker.
We've had drinks only.
Yeah, but we'll do it.
Done. That's
Done.
bas ho gaya.
Great chat. Fantastic. It's a wrap, everybody.
What's been up?
Not much. What's been up with you? Apna the usual, writing, performing, anguishing.
Please elaborate.
Nothing, just usual.
Ruminating,
fretting, usual. Enjoying the grey monsoon seasonal affective disorder that you get inevitably in this city. How about you? What's been up?
Nothing, just working and enjoying being single.
High five. I know that feeling. Are you on any dating apps?
No, I'm not.
Are.
I've never been on a dating app.
That's very good. You should keep it that way.
Yeah?
Yes.
Do you want to tell me why I shouldn't be on a dating app?
Because dating apps are a great way to see. The thing is, I feel like everybody in their life should come to a point where they lose faith in humanity.
Okay.
And I think getting on a dating app is a very fast way.
It catalyzes the process.
It catalyzes the process spectacularly. I think it's a great way to first lose faith in humanity and then, more importantly, lose faith in yourself. Which I think is the final step towards nirvana,
Yeah.
Like this thing.
It's like the breakdown that you need before a breakthrough.
Exactly
wow.
that. Yeah. It's like I've been on a dating app for the last few months, and the realization I've come to is मैं इस दुनिया में दोस्त बनने के लिए आया. मुझे इस धरती पे दोस्त बनने के लिए भेजा गया.
प्यार is also दोस्ती, na, as Bollywood has taught us.
Exactly, 100%. And platonic love should not be underrated at
all. I don't think I think it should be celebrated.
100%. In fact, I feel like there's a reason that in the past, people used to say the whole village used to live together and this, that, because the secret truth is that platonic love is the best.
Yeah, it is.
And if you actually just lived with your friends all the time, you would always be happy.
Yeah.
And never feel a lack of anything in your life.
I love how we're just two happy people.
Exactly.
Who are single and just like,
It's just everyone should learn from us. Everyone should learn from us. 100%.
Yeah. Tell me the worst bios you've read on dating apps.
Worst bios I've read on dating.
Or like prompts.
Prompt to matlab वैसे तो बहुत है, right? There's my favorite are the super entitled one where it's like, take me shopping. I'm like, खुद जा. मैं क्यों जा रहा हूँ? Seems entirely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Then my favorite are the ones that are like, if you can't impress me quick, then, I guess you're not for me. I'm like, but now I was not impressed by you.
You have unimpressed me rather quickly.
Exactly. So this is a lose-lose situation now for us. But I feel like the hinge cringe that women see is probably way worse. What are the worst that you've seen?
Okay, I have friends who send me a ton of like hinge cringe. Like it's very like okay, let's put aside the judgment that we have on like bad grammar and
what's up? It's not even about that. Yeah.
But I think it's like this. One of my friends came across a profile, and I feel bad for the guy because she shared it. But you know what? If you're going to be stupid, people are going to share it on WhatsApp.
Yeah,
so, sorry.
100%. Yeah, I think when you make a bio, you sort of make it with the knowledge.
Yeah.
You must have the knowledge that there is a WhatsApp group somewhere
Yeah.
where you are being discussed, whether you know it or not. It might be good, it might be bad, but आपके बायो का dissection हो रहा है, आपके बायो के बेसिस पे आपके कैरेक्टर के बारे में बहुत सारे assumptions draw हो रहे हैं, and this is true for all genders.
But you're making people laugh, तो कुछ अच्छा भी हो रहा है.
Exactly. This is true. This is true. So when the bio says can make people laugh,
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean on a date.
Yeah.
It might mean in the friends WhatsApp group
Yeah.
also.
Why not? And this dude apparently had made like a full ass presentation and like given stats and all as to why you should date him.
Oh wow.
And
Oh
my friend, she
God.
was like flabbergasted. She was just like, oh my God, this is. I was like, just go with him on a date. Like, I'm now just curious.
Oh my God. Seduction.xls.
Yeah. I'll actually show it. I have a group, Hinge Cringe, where there are 3 spectators, myself and a married couple, because they've been dating since
Of course.
they were in college and then they got married. So it's the 3 of us who just like get kicks from 3 people who are, you know, on and off the apps.
I think this must help
and
the
share a lot
married
of
couples
cringe.
so much, because
Yeah.
every time they even consider breaking up, they just look at this group and be like, "Nahi, I think
Yeah.
रहना चाहिए साथ में."
Yeah.
Like no matter
Like,
what happens.
One of my friends put up a shared a profile of a guy who was wearing like this very like Versace like robe, and his face a little bit. He was trying to look like Badshah.
But you know, there is only one Badshah.
There's only one Badshah.
There's only one Badshah.
And it's Shah Rukh Khan.
That's so like
That's mean.
Like the ones that I don't understand is, all right, like there are some profiles where you go, उनके प्रोफाइल फोटो में की शादी की फोटो है. Like literally वो आदमी आपको अपने सबसे पहले प्रोफाइल फोटो में वरमाला पहना रहा है. So it's not even like, oh, this is an open marriage or oh, I'm divorced, which is all great, right? Like there's many this thing.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, I'm single and looking. Then why is the only photo of your marriage? I'm confused here. Is this a role play kink? I don't know.
You never know.
You never know.
You will have to swipe to find out.
You know what? Some things I'm like, it's okay. I'm not living that dangerously anymore.
Somebody put up a picture with you also, right?
Someone, in fact, that was very good. I want to say very happy for that guy. He put up, he met me at Lollapalooza.
Yeah.
And he took a photo with me. And then he messaged me after a few months saying, "Bhai, आपकी वजह से बंदी पट गई." ठीक है, I'm like very, very good. Then I met him next year again at Lollapalooza, and he's like, "Bhai, वो तो खत्म हो गया, और एक photo ले लो मेरे साथ." And he's like, so I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that it's working for someone.
Yeah, and you're adding legitimacy to people's profiles.
100%.
That's
right?
great
Like,
karma.
It really is, which is also hilarious because my own profile has been reported for catfishing once.
You're not the only one. I think people wonder why some. I think Nishan Suri did a whole set about how Bumble like blocked him or something.
Yeah, same. I had to literally get in touch with Bumble and be like, guys, it's me only. I am the lonely guy. It's really me. It's nobody. Because also, like, I feel bad for anybody that's trying to catfish like a woman using me. दुनिया में बहुत लोग हैं. Please, if you're using me to catfish and try to get a date, just die alone. Like, it's a better bet than trying to use me.
People have made fake bio datas of me, like Shadi bureaus.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I've sent them like legal notices because I'm just like, what is wrong with you? This is not something I have wanted to sign up for. So they made like a full bio data. And then I'm a vegetarian. It's very absurd. And it's, you know, written that I'm a occasional non-vegetarian, I'm a vegetarian.
Right.
Then it's like, they've taken all my schooling, everything from like Facebook, LinkedIn. तो वो सब चिपका दिया. And then it was just like, you know, that's it, just the basics.
Okay.
And, you know, apparently in biodatas, you even have like time of birth and all. Some people like to write for Kundli and all that. They said not disclosed.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course. Of course.
And then they were going around town and there were 3 of these agencies.
But one second, were they actually trying to hook people up with you, or were they catfishing people with like
To
somebody
sign
else's detail? Oh.
So basically, apparently the process is that they pitch themselves to eligible people and say that, look, we have a database of like,
Oh, all these lovely and like extremely accomplished ladies. So please sign up. Oh my God. So
Yeah.
you were like part of like the sign up this thing?
So I basically was like this chudel because apparently they would say like we want to meet her and they would just say she doesn't want to meet you because you know you're not smart enough.
So this could your reputation
Yeah,
over
yeah,
that thing that we have her on our app,
yeah,
but she doesn't want to meet you.
yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's like when colleges put up fake guest faculty. Like, you know, ये आते हैं हमारे college में.
Yeah, so ऐसे ही कुछ हुआ तो one of my friends told me who was also like he's like an acquaintance and but he knows me enough to know that I don't think he doesn't think I would do that like go with this process. So then he's like, you know, I think somebody's trying to pull one over here.
That's wild. That is absolutely wild. Just I don't even know what to say to that
Yeah.
other than congratulate. This is why when people ask me about like my dating app, this thing or whatever, I'm like, I'm sure it's 10x worse for women.
I think somebody once put up some pictures of mine on a dating app, but somebody reported, I don't know, but yeah, this Shadi, I only sent legal notice.
Makes sense. Of course you did. And what happened? Did they take them down?
Yeah.
Okay, well done.
Unless some new one has cropped up and I don't know yet.
कोई अच्छा रिश्ता आएगा तो मतलब it's great, right? I'm sure they can be like, हाँ हाँ शादी करोगे फ्लैट भी मिलेगा.
The thing is, arranged marriage as a concept for me is like beer biceps. I
Very
can't
popular.
dismiss the existence.
Right.
I can't disrespect its success. It's just not for me.
Yeah, okay, fair. Yeah, I get that. I get that.
It
Arranged
works
marriages.
for millions.
Oh, same.
So
Absolutely.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, same. Not my cup of tea at all. I don't think I'd be able to, like, I barely do well with like people I meet and fall in love with. So arranged marriage, so for me seems like a bridge too
No
far.
Seema auntie for you?
No Seema Taparia from Mumbai for me, sadly. Like, I think I would be the client that would make Seema be like, I think bus ho gaya. Like, I think
No
like,
next season for Netflix.
yeah, series. I would be the series finale. I would be what in games they call the final boss.
Yeah.
Where Seema will be like, nahi, ho gaya.
But ऐसे क्या होगा? Like you are on Indian matchmaking.
I am on Indian matchmaking. First of all, half the words I'm saying are bleeped. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
unusable footage.
Okay, fair.
Second of all, I don't know if this has happened to you, but as I've gotten older, I think one of the reasons maybe people should find people younger is because you're a little more, as Seema auntie says, flexible.
Yeah.
As my life has continued to be good as I've gotten older, I've just gotten more rigid in my ways in terms
Yeah.
of I'm like I have a very good life.
Yeah.
I have very good things going for me in my life. So now if I want to allow somebody into this life, they'd better be worth it.
You sound like Aparna.
I do sound like Aparna, right? I do 100% sound like I get like Aparna was the character I relate with the most. I was watching Aparna, I'm like, "Tu kyun kar rahi hai shaadi?" Matlab, you seem like you have a very sorted life actually.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for you to do this. And it's just, I think with me, and these are not positives necessarily, but I think I'm a reasonably rigid person, very picky person. I am simultaneously like an emotionless and very emotional person. I don't know how that works, but and yeah, I just feel like my life is good and sort of filled with like, you know, like platonic love and familial love and many other sort of forms of joy in a way where for me to allow somebody into it or for me to build a sort of partnership with somebody, I think there has to be a ton of spark and just mutual respect and all of those things. And yeah, I'm not the easiest person to get along with. This is the opposite, by the way, of what a good shadi bio should be.
I think you have very high EQ. I think you're very kind. I think you're very thoughtful. I think you're very generous.
Very kind of you to say that.
Yeah, I think all of these things are true.
But I think that again is like situational, and I'm good at sort of deploying those in a platonic and familial environment. I'm less good at deploying them in
a romantic
situation.
Yeah.
I think like the strongest, the most stable emotional relationships of my life have been with my friends, funnily enough. Right. In a sense, like I think I would call like my closest guy friends are like the closest I've been to being in a marriage. I think.
Do you have friends who are girls? There's a popular notion that men and women can't be just friends.
No, I don't think
I don't think so at all.
I don't think that's true at all. I think you can be, I think friendships are definitely like they're soul things as opposed to gender things. I think you meet and you vibe with somebody and you just know that this person is going to be like in your life for possibly a long time, or you just value their presence. And I don't think that's related to gender
Yeah.
necessarily. I think एक लड़का और एक लड़की definitely दोस्त हो सकते हैं.
Yeah.
I think that it is possible in certain situations to mistake certain friendships for, or certain sort of friendly feelings for romantic feelings.
Yeah.
But I don't think that is always the case. I don't think that that's necessarily the norm. And in fact, I absolutely think, like, especially in our country, we need to start sensitizing, I think, right from childhood, kids to have significantly more like cross-gender
Yeah.
friendships and just interactions with each other, because it makes such a massive difference. Just to, like, for example, I feel like a lot of my perspective in life has been informed by friendships that I've had
Yeah.
with women, right? Because I mean, if your friends are only guy friends, you're going to have a certain perspective that is very male in a certain specific way. But I think, like you said, like if I have any sort of EQ at all, like even when it comes to dealing with, you know, people of a different gender or whatever, it comes from having friends and sort of seeing the perspective of that gender as well, right? So yeah, I think like absolutely they can be friends.
I think, unfortunately, we've also romanticized limerence so much,
Yeah.
especially from the male perspective,
Yeah.
that we've almost made it impossible to think that a guy can see a girl differently.
100%.
Because it doesn't work the other way, at least from like pop culture and stuff like
Right.
that. I think this entire thing of like one-sided love and
Oh, yeah,
limerence
yeah.
is just
No, this
such
whole,
garbage.
it
I
is
just
complete garbage. Like this sort of one-sided lover, this whole this idea that, like, for example, even this idea of the friend zone, right? Like the idea that this is some zone that you've been towed to like an iceberg
yeah.
and pushed out into to pasture. I don't think that that's true at all. I feel like, I don't know if you noticed this growing up, but and I don't know, people in comments may feel free to disagree, but I feel like a lot of times as a guy growing up in our society, you're not actually given the soft skills to just see a woman as a whole person.
Yeah.
Right? To just sort of interact with them as a whole person, um, on the in the same way that you interact with your male friends. And then as a result of that, what happens is you sort of start dumping these expectations and aspirations onto this person, and then when there's, say, a form of rejection or this thing, it immediately crystallizes into something kind of toxic inside of you. So as a result of that, then you get this, you know, my love was pure, पर वो बेवफा निकली.
Yeah.
And you know,
उसने कभी interest दिखाया भी नहीं था.
exactly, right? Exactly. Which is another thing that, like, in a sense, like, I think I've seen happen so much in society, which is where you just, there are so many guys that mistake just the kindness or the friendship of a woman as this person is romantically interested in me, because we've just not been taught otherwise.
I am a victim of this practice, I
I'm
must tell
sure,
you.
in fact, to the point where I have become like paranoid in the other degree. I'm one of those people where I'm like, look, if you have any feelings for me that are romantic or like sexual or whatever, you come and tell me to my face.
Yeah.
Otherwise, until then, I will just assume sort of friendship, because I just feel like there's enough and more people in this country, and especially I think it happens a lot with sort of women, where you just have to deal with, like, where, oh, I'm sorry, I showed basic kindness to a person. Now they assume that it's love.
But I actually think you are a sweet person, so I'm sure it happens the other way as well, where the women might assume that.
I mean, yeah, I guess occasionally it does. But again, I feel like, as is always the case in these equations, I feel like it's definitely skewed more one way than it is
Yeah.
the other.
How do you catch on to flirting then?
I struggle very hard with that. 9 times out of 10, I'm just like, okay, I'm not sure. Like, I just wait for somebody to say something either really overt,
Yeah.
or
But
like,
then that'll scare you.
I mean, not necessarily. It won't scare me. In fact, if it's somebody that I say am attracted to or whatever, in fact, like a huge relief for me. Because
Ladies,
otherwise,
you can note.
sorry, yeah, because otherwise I'm an overthinker. All right. I am a textbook
aware.
spiraling overthinker.
Yeah.
So I will just otherwise constantly overthink and then err on the side of caution, because I don't want to like risk upsetting anybody. So yeah, इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ, मैं इस धरती पे दोस्त बनने के लिए भेजा गया हूँ.
कंधा.
हाँ, कंधा, exactly.
लड़कियों का
I
कंधा.
was meant to be कंधा. And I'm not saying this again from the perspective of, oh, like, लड़कियां मुझे friend zone में, no, I'm not putting that burden on them. I'm like, I think मैं ही उस type का हूँ.
But tell me something, all the years of, let's say, Because I've known of you now for so long, which is not to say that you're old, which is just to
It's okay
say
to say
that
also.
you've done really well consistently over a long period of time. Let's say at the time of AIB, I'm sure there were so many people who were very sort of obviously showing interest. Did you ever feel like there was a price that you were paying for popularity because you were almost, as you said, on the side of caution, just being like, I don't know if this person is interested in me for me or if this person is interested in me because of what they see?
That's a double-edged sword in the sense that on the one hand, I could argue that, yeah, I don't know whether this person is into me for me or if this person is because, I am this person from AIB. But the other way of looking at it is that, would I even be able to say, would this person have even come and spoken to me if, like, say I hadn't been like in the public eye at that point, or would I have ever even met this person, or would I have ever had the opportunity to sort of have a conversation with a certain person? So yeah, I think, but also I feel like that fear is there for everybody, right? Like today, a wealthy person will be like, is this person with me for me or for my money? A person will be like, is this person with me for me or my looks? Is this person? So I feel like that's something that I think everybody goes through in different ways.
Yeah.
That was so it was a bit of a worry, but not like a massive worry. Also, I was younger at that time, no? तो मतलब ego तो वैसे भी satisfy हो रहा था. So I mean,
Fair.
ठीक है.
But is that something that you're conscious of? Like, if somebody knows your work a fair bit, you would be a little reticent?
I think, yeah, more than just know my work is because I understand that today, there might be some people that would know my work. I think what I will do is I'll be a little sort of just mindful of what they're like in the conversation. So, like, for example, if somebody seems like, say, very like either awestruck or in like super fan mode or whatever like that, I'll then take a sort of step back where I'm like, look, I'm not looking for that dynamic. I'm not looking for that this thing at all. I want you to like this is more of say none of this had happened or say I wasn't doing this in my life. Do you just like me as a person? Do
Yeah.
you enjoy my company as a person? Like do you feel like if none of this existed, like and again, not even talking about like getting married or love or whatever. Like, do you genuinely enjoy sitting down and having a drink with me or just having this meal with me or cuddling or whatever, right? All
Yeah.
of those things. So I think yeah, that's definitely something where in my case I feel like I gravitate more towards somebody who's just sort of having a conversation with me like an equal or like they have no idea who I am. And the good thing, it's not like I'm that popular also. So there's more people
You are
that don't
popular, Rohan. I've been out
popular
with
with a small
you.
p.
People have come, asked for
Popular
pictures
with
very
a small
sweetly.
p.
You'll take
Yeah.
pictures.
Like a few people do come and say it, and that is going to happen. But I always say like popular with a small p. And that's a good spot in life.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
because
because
see,
I
here's the
think it
thing
allows
after
you privacy as well.
it does, right? And the thing is, I've had the privilege of working with people who are popular with a capital P. So I've seen what that sort
Shah
of
Rukh Khan.
popularity, Shah Rukh Khan, right? And that's just one of many, right? So I feel like the reason I try to have this perspective on my popularity is I'm not trying to do some false humility or whatever. It's just like if you worked with Shah Rukh Khan and Alia Bhatt and Ranbir Kapoor, and it's just in general, like this is the city of Bollywood. Uh, Perspective comes very easy,
Yeah.
right? It genuinely comes very easy. And I think it would be really, really sort of egomaniacal of me to think that in that scale of things, I am in any way like anywhere near the top of that food chain of popularity or whatever. So yeah, I'm very happy with this sweet little popular with small p that I have where, if we're out once in a way, one person will come and ask for a photograph. So it's a nice sort of ego boost. It feels good also, but it's not in any way interfering with my privacy or my ability to just say sit down and have a meal with you or any of those
Yeah.
things. So it's great.
Did you manage to play on the PlayStation with Shah Rukh Khan?
I did not, still I feel like one of the great unwritten chapters of my life is that we have not yet played PlayStation with Shah Rukh Khan, in spite of me telling him that I would bring my PlayStation. In spite of being so generous with my offer, I have not yet played PlayStation with Shah Rukh Khan, and I feel like if I could live a life where that is a thing that does eventually happen,
Yeah.
I feel like that would be the closing of one of my most important character arcs.
Why do you think he didn't call you guys?
I think that honestly, we freaked him out a little bit with our overt fanboyness. And, it's also possible. A very busy man with, he's got, other like,
Yeah.
like popular friends. Like, I'm sure like you know वो रणबीर कपूर के साथ खेला है,
Fair.
right? So ठीक है, हो जाएगा कभी को, मतलब
You can play Xbox with Kullu now. You happen to be gifting them left, right, and
exactly.
center.
PS with Kullu. It's just so the thing with like with gifting Kullu that that PS was, right. Like I feel like growing up as a kid.
Oh, it was
If
a PlayStation. I'm sorry. I
it was
thought
a
it was the
PlayStation, yeah,
Xbox.
no, it
Yeah.
was a PlayStation. But I feel like growing up as a kid, for me, if somebody had asked me like back like when I was in my 20s or even in my teens, like what is the ultimate gift?
Yeah.
Like for you, like what would put the biggest smile on your face? I feel like at that time for me, it would have been a PlayStation or a gaming
Yeah.
console of some sort. I've reached a place in my life where, to the people sort of close to me, once in a way, I can do something like this. And I don't have like, I have an older sibling. I do not have like a younger sibling. I have a nephew, but I'd already gifted him a PlayStation. So, like, when I sort of found out it's his birthday, I'm like, if I was that age and I could get any gift, I feel like the thing that would really like make my day is like a PlayStation just sort of showing up. And I feel very blessed that I'm a place in my life where I could do that. I'm also very blessed that we live in this insane sort of tech economy where Blinkit will deliver a PlayStation in 20 minutes.
Did you order it off Blinkit?
Did order it off Blinkit. I did indeed order it off Blinkit.
My
Because
God.
literally I was like, Kulu, send me your address. And then 25 minutes later, I get a video call from him, which also, I have to say, well done, capitalism. All right. Don't give us a second chance to rethink our impulses
Yeah.
and like have us spending our money right there.
Yeah.
You can get anything on Blinkit. My favorite thing about these 10-minute delivery apps is a suspicious number of personal massagers. There is a suspicious number of things that are just spun as this is a head massager, and I'm like, acha, bada head massage karega ye to. Like it's amazing. You go there, right? And the number one category in personal electronics is a suspicious variety of long looking things that are sold.
Fascinating.
Yeah, as personal massagers,
Yeah.
and very often in like, oh, top seller, and I'm like, I'll bet. Like, लोग बड़े घर के बैठ के massage ले रहे.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so it was sort of nice to do.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really liked the big smile on his face.
I have an Xbox, a box with letters of my exes.
Well done.
That very generously they have written.
Well done. What did they say?
All lovely things.
Please come back.
Till I left them.
Please come back. तुम घर कब आओगे? All of those things. No, I think like you said about your brother is I think one big lie that we were always told as children, okay, is, and again, you can feel free to disagree in the comments, all right? This money can't buy happiness
Yeah.
thing, okay? Will money solve all of your problems? No.
Yeah.
But I can think of many times in my life where I have been happy because of money.
Yeah.
Like very bluntly, all right, you know this. You went to Masai Mara and came
Yeah.
just now, right? Money can buy happiness. You literally saw what? You saw a leopard kill.
Yeah, I saw cheetah kill for her 4 cup.
You saw cheetah kill for her 4 cup. There we go. I would just like to point out, okay, Bani had money. What did the cheetah kill?
Gazelle.
Gazelle had no money. Bani happy, Gazelle dead. All right. I'm just saying. All right. Only one of those two creatures has a 4K video of that slaughter. So I would just very much like to say that money can indeed buy happiness.
I had a question like love or money, but you seem to have answered it.
I don't think it's an or question. I think a good life would maybe involve having both, because I think we live bluntly in a very expensive world. We live in a world that I think day by day has become more and more expensive.
Yeah.
I think you need in this day and age like love and money, simply because, yeah, like even in terms of love, right? Like you go back 20, 30 years, you go back to say our parents' generation. There was a time where just like forget social norms, etc., but just on one person's salary at that time, you could afford, like, there would be a roof over your head.
Yeah.
You'd be able to send like 2 kids to school and then potentially a good college, etc. All of that. You would be able to keep your family happy, healthy, well fed, clothed, if nothing, at least those basic things. Today, that's just not true anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, there are places where it's possible, but if you want to make it in like a big city or, the places where opportunities are, I don't think we live in that world anymore,
Yeah.
bluntly, right? I think we live in a world where both parents have to be working to give their kids what are now considered like just basic opportunities.
I think we were having a chat about this. I think you were talking about your nephew at some point in
Yeah.
time and just how expensive
It's
education
so expensive.
is.
And again, I want to be clear about the fact that, like, in the sense, we are privileged, well-to-do people. Like, I don't want to make it seem like
Yeah,
life
of
is so
course.
hard, etc.
No, we are not those people.
I'm saying, even considering
Yeah.
that, when I just look at it, if you want to give one kid the best opportunities and say, okay, you know what, take every educational opportunity available to you, take every sort of test, take a shot at every college in any part of the world, like, you want, like, okay, you're struggling in a subject, we'll get you the best tutor, or we'll make sure you go to the best schools or the best council. That stuff adds up. Like, it
Yeah.
really, really adds up. Like, I see two really sort of well-to-do parents also still fretting,
Yeah.
because that stuff, like, I don't know if, like, this happens, but I've seen in Mumbai, like, you talk about getting married at 25, 26, and I think that's a lie sold to a previous generation, because I know people who are in their 40s and still living with roommates and flatmates
Yeah.
in a city like Mumbai, because otherwise they would be commuting from dystopian distances
Yeah.
just to make it to what you think like 20 or 30 years ago would have been a dream job. And now that job is just about covering, like, rent for half a house
Yeah.
and food and table. And I don't agree with those people who are like, have one less Starbucks coffee. No, a lot of these people are not doing Starbucks coffees and are
Yeah.
not, they're literally just holding on, like, for dear life. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, love and money. The short answer is, I don't think it's a love or money dichotomy. I think if you have only love but no money,
I think that though is you can't survive.
you can't
Yeah.
survive. I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't care what 90s Hindi movies taught you. But
Yeah.
right, you cannot survive on only love.
I
Right?
think
Like,
they set really unrealistic
oh,
standards.
full
Also,
on.
I think they were very toxic, and I think you need to have space and a certain amount of education to realize
Oh,
that
full on.
retrospectively, when you see them, you're just like, this was
Oh,
ridiculous and
100%.
toxic
Full
and
on.
sexist.
They
And
are absurd. Like, I think it's amazing to me that, like, when I was growing up, I was taught that there's basically two ways to express love to a woman. If you are romantically interested in, okay, this is what I grew up with. Way number one, never express it.
बताना भी नहीं आता,
बताना भी
जताना
नहीं
भी नहीं
आता,
आता. That
जताना भी
song.
नहीं आता. You go, like, you just stand on the side and you stalk her. All right. You stalk her. You let her fall in love with someone else. You let her be with someone else. Then, when she's happy with that other person and they have a kid, then take a bullet for her. Then die. And then let her live with the goddamn guilt eating away at the relationship that she's already in. That was way number one. Way number two was healthier, to be fair.
Okay.
It said you don't mess around with a woman until you are 100% sure in your heart that you love her.
Yeah.
Then, when you are 100% sure in your heart that you love her, go to her wedding.
Yeah.
That's important. Go to her wedding.
Yeah.
Go to the mandap and tell her over there.
Yeah.
Before it's too late, or just little after it's too late. Right? Because then you get nice dramatic showdown with, like, because I always felt bad for that side husband guy. Because उसकी कोई गलती नहीं है, ठीक है, इस situation में.
Yeah.
बेचारे ने कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ा है किसी का, ठीक है. वो मतलब अपने feelings के साथ in touch है. वो शादी करने के लिए तैयार है.
वो अजय
उसने
देवगन
सारे
है.
steps, वो अजय देवगन है, ठीक है. और तुम यहाँ बस सलमान बैठ के बने हो, ठीक है. आई एम वेरी सॉरी, वेरी रॉन्ग. Even Shah Rukh Khan in
कुछ होता है.
कुछ होता है, and DDLJ for that matter.
But DDLJ चल was still better.
हाँ, still ठीक है, मतलब was still better, but again mildly. Okay?
Questionable.
Questionable. कुछ होता है तो I'm
That was
sorry.
I would have gone with Aman.
अरे also just in general, boss, why are you putting this load on a 7-year-old? 1 second. This girl is 7 years old. She has just lost her mother. Now her dead mother has written her a letter saying, सुनो, इन दो adults के बीच में सिर्फ तुम आ सकती हो.
How can she read so much Hindi?
Exactly. How? Asking the real questions on this podcast. Asking the real questions. How can she read so much?
Yeah.
It's just a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Like, if I had been that girl, I would have just burned that letter and gone about with my life saying, I'm sorry, my dad is a fool. All right?
Yeah.
It sucks. Like she was, yeah, Aman was the guy. Dude.
Aman was the guy.
It's not often that you look at the Salman Khan character and go, this right here is the guy. But he was the guy, dude.
Yeah.
He was totally the guy.
Yeah.
Like he was a sweetie.
He was a sweetie.
Yeah, Sajan ji ghar aaye.
Yeah. Kajol really.
Kajol,
He
you
messed
know,
that up.
bad choices.
Yeah.
Just really bad choices all around.
What are some of the bad choices you've made?
Oh, wow. How long is this podcast? What are some of the bad choices?
Summarize them.
Okay, summarize. Honestly, I think one of the biggest sort of bad choices I've made in my life would be not dropping out of engineering. Dropping out of engineering was a good choice. I think the way I did it was a bad choice.
Mm.
Like that was a bad choice in the sense that I don't think I owned it. I think I was so afraid at sort of that age of, and especially again in India, and up until then, I had a very good academic career.
Yeah.
So I think there was that added shame of how am I now after this good academic career
Yeah.
going to go and admit failure? But as a result of that, I didn't just sort of drop out. I allowed myself to flunk out. Like it's at no point did I just go to my parents and say, I can't do this. I would literally leave for college every day. I would get to the gate of the college, have an anxiety attack, take the train back, and then just go sit on Marine Drive for the full day. Like, I'm not kidding. I would just go sit on Marine Drive for the full day and then come back. And I did that for an entire semester until I basically forced the college's hand to throw me out at the end of that semester.
Mm.
Because again, it was a, there's no other word for it. It was a move, okay? Because if you want to know what audacity is, I didn't go, okay, full year. And then, like a man turning himself into the police, I went for the exam. And the professor just literally, I'm not kidding, looked at me and said, who are you? And then when I told her who I was, she was like, oh, you are that person on the roll sheet. Wait 2 seconds. And then HODs were brought in.
Oh, wow.
And then I was told that basically there's no way we can allow you to give this exam.
Very
At which point,
unceremoniously, you were asked.
very
to do it.
unceremoniously, by my own sort of this thing,
Yeah.
I essentially created a situation where they were forced to push me into a corner where I had then no choice but to jump and then go tell my parents that, oh, I've done this, which is, and even then after I did that, I remember, I mean, understandably, my parents were upset, right?
Yeah.
Because we also do bluntly come from a family where there are a lot of like academic expectations, etc. I have cousins who have like been to Oxford and Cambridge, and like I
Yeah.
have an uncle who is a fellow at the Merton School of Business in Oxford, and like literally like counts Manmohan Singh as a friend. I'm not making this up, okay? Like, and then there's me. Hello, right? And so there was, as a result of that, and the way that I did it, there was a certain amount of sort of social shame that my parents had to deal
Yeah.
with. And I remember after things sort of calmed down at home and we had a conversation, and one of the things that they said to me is, it's not that you dropped out, it's the way you did it. Like you
Yeah.
just straight up lied to our faces for several months. And I think if you just had an honest conversation with us, we would have understood we're not ogres.
Yeah.
To their credit, they really weren't. And I think that was a bad choice. Like I just wish I'd owned that a little better. So I think that would be one of the sort of bad choices that I've made. What's another bad choice I've made? Bad choice that I've made that I can say now at 41 is I didn't take up sport and exercise earlier. Like I wish I'd taken it up in like my early 20s. I
Yeah.
waited until I was like 30, 31 and then got into
You're
that.
still very fit, Rohan.
That's after like 8 years of like grinding. But
Yeah.
I feel like if I'd started a little earlier, I would have been a little fitter. That's a bad choice. Other than that, what other bad choices have I made? How about you? What would you say is a bad choice that you've made?
I think the last one that I remember vehemently was, I think, staying in a relationship longer than I should have.
Oh, been there.
Yeah.
Been there.
I think that was not a great choice.
Been there. May I, and I'm sorry, and you can feel free to, may I ask why you stayed longer? Because I've been in that position
I
as
think I
well.
felt guilty.
Okay.
I also definitely, I'm sure subconsciously was insecure that what if there's no one else?
Uh-huh.
And I think the feeling of not being settled with the idea that perhaps it's just you forever and that should make you happy nonetheless is something that I discovered after.
Right.
It would be harder to be manipulated as me today.
Okay.
Few
Yeah.
years ago, perhaps
Yeah.
I was a little
I think
kacha
we
on
all do
this.
that, right? Sometimes we forget what happens is when we go back to a situation 8 or 10 years ago,
Yeah.
the person that we're imagining is still the us of today,
Yeah.
right? Like there are times where I think back to my academic career or whatever, and I'm like, man, I should have just told that teacher
Yeah.
this, and I'm like, hang on, that's 41. You've
Yeah.
forgotten how terrified and tiny
Yeah. You
16-year-old
didn't know
Rohan
any
felt.
better then.
You didn't,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So definitely that. I think with you on the fitness part as well, should have. I think there were a few years when I was just lazy
Yeah.
and I should not have been. And I think that outside of that,
Yeah, but I've been there. I've been in that sort of situation where
yeah,
probably stayed in a relationship longer than I should have. And again, for some of the same reasons. So you feel like, okay, what if there's nothing else?
Yeah.
What if there's sort of nobody else? And then,
that's not a great place to be in at all.
no, it's really not.
Because it doesn't even matter if there's nobody else. It's the
Correct,
fact that you are
exactly.
not happy anyway.
And it's a terrible thing to do to the other person as well,
Yeah.
to yourself and to the other person, right? Because at the end of the day, there's the feeling that, because see, there's the relationship, there's the place where it should have ended.
Yeah.
And then every single day after that, I feel like whether you realize it or not, you're actually tearing little chunks out of each other's soul, right? Because the other person's also not an idiot.
Yeah.
They can tell
Yeah.
that something is up. They can tell that.
Sometimes they are idiots.
Sure, sometimes they are idiots. This is also true. Maybe because they are also coming from the same place of insecurity, right?
Yeah.
That maybe they also feel like, what if this is all there is?
Yeah.
Or, there's nothing else. And then
And they don't know any better either.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? And so now y'all are both sort of just meandering along every day, going to bed, very aware of the fact that something's not right. And then you wake up and every day, like a little percent of you is taken away as a
Yeah.
result of that. And then by the time you either do end it, or sometimes it just catastrophically ends as a result of there's really only so much build up. Eventually a straw breaks the camel's
Yeah.
back, right? And then you realize just sort of how much possible psychological damage you've done to yourself and the other person.
Yeah.
And then in fact picking yourself up from that
Yeah.
is a little harder. So been there, yo. Been there.
Second time we're having this conversation.
Second
First
time we're
time
having
on
this
camera.
conversation. Yeah, first time on camera. But I guess like the only takeaway from that is live and learn, right?
Yeah.
And then sort of be like, okay, I won't put myself in that position again. And if like there's ever a relationship that gets to that place, I'll have the courage to sort of own the fact that it's not
Yeah.
working out and, either work on it, or then if all attempts at working on it fail, genuinely get out of it.
Yeah. There's this video that I saw where Drew Barrymore asks Hugh Grant, if he has a gratitude journal. And he says, are you insane? I have a list of things I hate. Do you want to enlighten me on some of the things you don't like? Because I have a feeling manifestation is one of them.
Oh God, yeah. So what my absolute number one hatred is reserved for this new trend of everyone thinking they are a life hack guru.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone has decided that, see, it's one thing to live your life,
Yeah.
to take 1-2 lessons from it and be like, all of us move and evolve and grow and do all of those things. It is a whole other thing to think that just because something is going okay for you, you now know can teach the whole world.
Yeah.
Like very prescriptive. Like आजकल, like in the sense, guru aesthetic बन गया है.
Yeah.
ठीक है, लाइक एक तो सब सेल्फ स्टाइल्ड है, बी है बेसिकली ऐसा एक माइक ले लो, ठीक है, ऐसा 3/4 एंगल लेके बात करो, साइड पे कोई है नहीं है, फर्क नहीं पड़ता, ठीक है, और बस मतलब ज्ञान, ठीक है, आई एम वेरी सॉरी टू से इट, बट दैट्स लिटरली व्हाट इट इज, ठीक है। और लोग कुछ भी मतलब ये लिंक्डइन वाले क्या है आप लोगों का, लिंक्डइन वालों का, हाँ मतलब रोज ऐसे कहाँ से लाते हो लर्निंग्स आप, ठीक है, मैं 40 साल में इतने लर्निंग्स नहीं हुए मेरे, लाइक इट्स वन थिंग टू go out, live your life and learn things. But now it feels like the cart leading the horse, right? Because it's not about actual learning.
Yeah.
It's more about, oh, I have a content hole that I need to fill.
Yeah.
As a result of which, I will now think of something I did today and reverse engineer some bullshit learnings out of that and then give that prescriptively to people. And you say things like, oh, I manifested it, or whatever. They go, एटलीस्ट हमारे टाइम की जनरेशन ना ऑनेस्ट थी, हम
Hmm.
लोग ये सब मैनिफेस्टेशन नहीं बोलते, अगर कुछ होता तो बोलते हाँ पापा के कांटेक्ट से हुआ, लाइक दैट इज द करेक्ट फ्रेज. अब तुम लोग बस मैनिफेस्टेशन बोलते हो, बिकॉज आई हैव नोटिस, एंड अगेन आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट you cannot live a life where, like, people talk about manifestation, where you visualize what you want
Yeah.
and work towards that goal. Okay, I'm not saying that that's not true, but this idea, but I've noticed, and I'm sorry, I could be wrong, again, please feel free to disagree in the comments. I just feel like when I go on an Instagram or a LinkedIn or one of those things, the people who are using these words like manifestation and life hack and hustle and grind and all are not actually the people who are really in life manifesting, grinding, hustling, or doing any of that.
Yeah.
Like, that's my main problem.
They're all
right?
basically privileged people pretending
They're
to not be
extremely
privileged.
privileged people who are acting like, they built like Rome in a day. When the fact is, I'm sorry, actually Rome आपके पापा ने build किया था और आप अब Rome में ऐश कर रहे हो, ठीक है? And that is my main issue with it, ठीक है? And also the fact
Yeah.
that some of the problem is, I don't think life is one size fits all.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't think that just because something worked for me, I have the right to look in the camera and be like, I prescribe, this is how you should do it if you want to be like me. I don't know your circumstances. I don't know whether any of the stuff that was like I did it is applicable to your life.
Yeah.
And the confidence with which I see, like, 23 and 24 and 25-year-old people call themselves like either life coaches or this or that. I'm like,
You haven't even lived life, bro.
like you're still on your milk teeth, boss. तू एक बार लाइफ में पहले टीडीएस भर, ठीक है? फिर बात करते हैं. तू मेरे को 2 फॉर्म 16 ये दिखा, ठीक है? फिर बात करते हैं हम, right? And that's what's frustrating to me, that this sort of gurudom has become an aesthetic. Now.
Yeah.
It's become an internet, and it's become an epidemic. Where I'm like, if everyone is guru, who's student?
Yeah.
Right? And what are your qualifications to sort of be this? Like today, for example, I just want to try, like, for fun and be like, I want to go to my security guard and be like, bro, I love your hustle. ठीक है, मेरे को जाके ये बोलने का वो तो रात को मेरे लिए गेट ही नहीं खोलेगा उसके पास. आई थिंक लाइक तू बाहर रह, तू ग्राइंड कर. Because the crazy thing is, right, when I hear people say, like, even like when I hear people fall for billionaire bullshit, like you should work 75 hours a week or 90 hours a week or whatever, none of these people are saying the quiet part, which is that you should be working 75 hours a week to make more profits for me. Right? Nothing is changing in their life.
Yeah.
Nothing is changing, which is just, that's something that really annoys me. Like, essentially, this just, I feel like manifestation, etc., all of it is this sort of just part of LinkedInification
Yeah.
of our culture, right? Where I'm so tired of these like posts where, like, I'm saying this in like a sort of parody way, but I don't even think there's this great subreddit called LinkedIn Lunatics. All right, I love it because it's just people.
Please send it to me.
I will send it to you because it is just people sharing screenshots of actual LinkedIn posts where they're like, "Bhai, tu baith jana." Like, where it's literally like post to the effect of like, I'm not even making there'll be posts will be like, my wife miscarried 2 weeks ago. Here's what that taught me about building a business. I'm like,
What?
mere bhai, kya bol raha hai tu? I'm just saying that this is the culture
I'm
we live in
really
now.
shook.
Like, why? Don't be. This is LinkedIn. This is everything is like
Open
this. Like,
LinkedIn only.
like here's what here's what the riots in London tell you about public community. I'm like, mere bhai. Like, and this is what I mean, where like this is not about real learning.
Yeah.
This is not. You had a content hole today. You saw this happening on TV, and you're like, मैं अब 10
Let me milk it.
like principles reverse engineer karunga to fill that content hole. And again, it's an aesthetic, right? You have a certain display picture that gives you a certain legitimacy because it'll have a white background and you're wearing a suit and it looks like a very
अब तो AI से भी कर
polished.
सकते हैं ये
हाँ?
सब. अब तो AI से
अब
भी
तो
कर सकते
AI से भी अब अरे इतने AI डिस्प्ले पिक्चर है अब तो, राइट? चैट जीपीटी भी कुछ भी बताता है
Yeah.
आजकल. So that's what worries me.
Yeah.
And the thing is, right, today if you're young or even if you're slightly say older or you're looking for answers, right? Because today you could have 100 problems going on in your life. It is so easy to be susceptible to essentially bluntly these snake oil salesmen.
Yeah.
Right? There's no other word for it. It is so easy to be susceptible to that sort of bullshit that I worry for like anybody that is dealing with that. So there's just this sort of self-promoting, I am a guru LinkedIn culture. I think
Yeah.
that right now
Or
is
even love guru. I'm just like, I don't want love or relationship advice from like a single 30-something person.
exactly.
You've not been in a relationship long enough to
Exactly.
give me relationship advice.
Hell yes, that is the truest thing ever. We're like, "Tu hota hi kaun hai?"
Yeah, I
Literally.
want it from a 70-year-old person who's been in a 30-year-old long relationship to
Yes.
tell me how they made it
That
work.
is the only person qualified to
Yeah.
actually tell you. That is so true. Like the scariest people in the world, or rather the bravest people in the world, okay? There's the people that did the research on COVID. All right. There's the people that go into war zones. And I think the bravest people are people who can have couple influencer accounts.
Hmm.
All right. Because the thing that keeps me awake as an anxious person is who gets the account in the divorce?
Yeah.
Who gets the followers in the divorce? Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason I say cautionary tale is what I was coming to is there. I'll send you the link so you can put it in the description. For people is there was this couple that was their whole thing was couple fluencer, okay?
Mm.
Like where they would do TikToks together about how we are best, most number one drama free couple. Like they literally like they had TikTok about how it's so amazing to have a drama free relationship, etc. Whatever, which was great until the day he murdered her. He murdered her. I'm not making this up. Until the day he straight up murdered her and is now in jail for murdering her because I think he saw her texting another dude or something like that. So this is one of those modern
Wow.
cautionary tales that I always come back to. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's not ready for this.
Well, that's the thing. Never let them know your next move.
Yeah.
10 things I learned from this podcast. You never know where a sentence is going when Rohan says. But yeah, so that's what I'm saying, right? You have all of these, you never know eighth or what's going on beyond the surface. You never know how much is dikhawa. You never know like any of that stuff. So all of these stories, and I know that yes, these stories are the outliers, right? They're obviously, but
Yeah, I mean, not all wives are getting
no.
murdered.
Not all wives are getting murdered and not all, but I'm just saying that the point is these people were pushing as their brand
Yeah.
a certain kind of lifestyle and they were selling it as a prescriptive product.
Yeah.
Right? Essentially saying that this is what we think makes for a happy marriage. And this is what we think this is not even forget we think, this is what we say you should do.
अरे 20 साल रह के तो बता.
Exactly. और मतलब यहाँ 3 साल में मर्डर हो गया तो जेन जी का प्रॉब्लम है ब्रिटल हो आप तो. But no, I mean, I'm not laughing at the tragedy of it. What I am is sort of like a very gallows laughter at just the absurdity.
Yeah.
And the
It is
humanity of
absurd.
it, right?
It's rather absurd.
And it's an extreme example.
Yeah.
But it is a sort of, I think it is an example of like one of the pitfalls of the culture that we live in.
Yeah.
Right? Which is that you become a slave to your own sort of brand identity. And unlike, say, previous forms of celebrity or this kingdom where people could differentiate between, like, say, for example, if you were a movie star at a certain point in time, people could differentiate, okay, this is what this person does on screen and this is who this person is. But what happens with influencer culture is you're expected to have that brand value bleed into your day to day. And you have to sort of prove to people that that is the authentic version of yourself. When, let's face it, 9 times out of 10, it is not.
Agree.
Right?
I mean, I think one of the places where I genuinely just really get the ick, and this is where I just feel like because these people are incredibly popular, I just feel like, children and young kids and whoever is kind of following whoever on the internet should choose their heroes wisely.
100%.
Because what really gives me the ick is how much we've commoditized faith, religion, belief.
Science. Pseudoscience.
Yeah.
There is so much pseudoscience on the internet, right? Just in terms of there are people, कुछ भी अनाप शनाप medical advice दे रहा है, कुछ भी भाई ये मतलब like कुछ भी बोल रहा है यार कि मतलब नहीं ये मत करो, बस ये कैसा आधा एवोकाडो ले लो, फिर उसमें घी डाल दो, फिर उसमें हल्दी डाल के अपनी डाल दो, सब सेट हो जाएगा अपने लाइफ में. कहाँ से ला रहे हो आप ये एडवाइस? I'm very sorry, but literally, like I get angry when I see that, right?
Yeah.
Because on the other hand, outside you have actual doctors and medical professionals who have worked their whole lives.
Yeah.
There are researchers
They struggle through MBBS.
They struggle through MBBS. There are researchers who have put in decades of research and still put out like, detailed, complex reports that leave space for caveat. आप लोग जाके मतलब बस बोल रहे कि हाँ ये बस ये जला दो, ये कर दो, सब ठीक हो जाएगा, मतलब क्या कहाँ से आ रहा है ये?
Yeah, and it's the like this shot. Everyone,
Yeah,
like, it has to be a perfectly lit
yes,
day,
yeah,
right? With like good lighting. And I imagine it literally in my head that, let's say I'm at Bangla Sahib, or I'm at the Golden Temple, and this is every Guru Purab. This is everybody's Instagram feed,
yeah.
where there is a picture with great lighting, them in like, Indian traditional clothes, and then they're doing this to,
Like, did you actually go to pray, or did you just go to get that
and
Instagram
there
this
is
thing?
someone who is taking a picture. So you're standing
Yeah.
there and you're like, you know what? Let me do this and then just take my picture at that point of time.
Yeah.
What is going on? It's
Like people who take
disgusting.
pictures of themselves, of them crying, for example, saying, "Oh, I was having really, you were having a low point, but you still thought
Of
to
Instagram?
like be able to put a camera and be like, oh, what a great sort of content piece this would make, or whatever." Like, it's just, and again, you're obviously free to have your faith and your beliefs and your this and that. I'm just saying that there's a very big difference between somebody who goes to a temple to pray,
Yeah.
or somebody who goes to any religious place to pray, and somebody who goes to that place going, "Aaj main content nikalunga
Yeah,
yahan se,"
yeah.
right? One is authentic,
Yeah.
the other is not, blindly. And I think that is, and this is true right now of these life hacks people.
Yeah.
This is true of, like, there's a lot of bad medicine, pseudoscientific
Yeah.
information. There's a lot of bad, just not researched, like, whether it's religious or like just stoking this thing, like fires between different communities. There's like another thing, like I have friends who are like in the business world, etc. They're like, where some of these influencers
Yeah.
today, if you work for a business channel, or if you're a CA or whatever, you have to adhere to a bunch of fiduciary codes
Yeah.
and these things, beyond which, like, the whip will get cracked on you. Who is regulating this? Like, where these
Yeah.
people are like, you can get rich like this, or you should
Yeah.
invest. Who is regulating these sort of thousands of pump and dump coins that
Yeah.
are happening? Who is regulating when, influencers are using these like big sort of clickbaity titles and
Yeah.
thumbnails, and people are putting their money into this shit.
Yeah. A lot of them are saying you shouldn't buy real estate, and I really disagree with them.
I mean, what a surprise. I, for one, am shocked. And you have such an unbiased perspective on this yourself.
Yeah.
As just as a real estate enthusiast.
Yeah, as just
a
a real
purely
estate enthusiast.
real estate enthusiast.
I remember you put up a story, okay, with this one weird clip where somebody was just saying utter rubbish, and it was like this thing of, what the hell is wrong with all the podcasters? Like, have they all just gone nuts? And I remember looking at it and replying to be like, oops, thanks.
What?
I just said, oops, thanks.
Nice.
So
Nice.
given that, the fact that you've showed up, I would like to believe that, this was not one of them.
No, this was definitely not. Because look, I don't think at any point are we turning to the camera and saying you should definitively do this. There's no point. I'm sorry if at any point in the last hour of us talking, you have felt like we're looking at you and saying, we think we know better than you and you should do this. That is 100% not the energy I wanted to bring to this. Anything that I've said, please feel free to tear it apart in the comments. Please
No, but
feel free
I'm
to
saying that anyone who watches anything should be mindful
100%.
and just not follow rubbish,
100%.
because it has to add value. It should be verified.
Full on.
And don't fall for like self-promotion.
And the thing is, it's getting scarier now, is because even when you say, like earlier, you could just be like, do your own research.
Yeah.
But now the problem is just the way, even say, Google pages are algorithmically ranked or things like that. Even if you try to do your own research, there are so many websites that have legitimate looking sort of facades, right? Which will have like either a very sciencey name or a sort of, like a very financially this thing name. But you go there and they'll tell you something, but you have no way of verifying who their sources are. You have no way of verifying whether this article was just some randomly AI generated nonsense. You don't like the greatest, and I talk about this on a lot of podcasts, but one of the best classes or one of the best subjects I was ever taught is I went to journalism school. There was this subject we were taught called news and numbers, which is where every week our teacher would just explain to us how to look at any data or information that's been put in front of you from a critical perspective of just how has this sentence been framed? Has this data been has this sentence been framed in a way to massage the truth. For example, I remember, it still happens. When I was growing up, there was a lot of this. On the science pages, you would see these articles about how, a glass of wine every day
Yeah.
is good for heart health,
Yeah.
etc. All of that. You go back and look at some of those studies. Who were they funded by? Wine councils and
Yeah.
associations, right? Who have funded the research and then essentially written the sentence of the outcome in a way that makes it look like it's a really good thing, versus, so you don't know what the person's
Yeah.
agenda. So that class really, it shifted my perspective in the sense that it gave me a very healthy amount of
Yeah.
suspicion towards whenever something is presented to me. I
Yeah.
go, okay, who
Correctly
would benefit
consuming
from
data.
this?
Yeah.
Is who's the source of this?
Yeah.
Is this a trustworthy source? Is this, in case of scientific, this thing, is this peer reviewed? Is this any of that stuff? And there are lots of great books. There's one great book called Everybody Lies by Seth Stephens Davidowitz, which is just, again, basically about just data.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just beautiful. And I think in a world like this, we need way more books.
Yeah.
And just way more just avenues that teach. Like, I really worry that in the age of more information than there ever has been, we are somehow living in an age with the least critical thinking.
Yeah, it's true.
That's very scary, right? When if you have so much mal, basically, and nobody to process it with critical thinking,
Yeah.
we're basically living in this weird place right now where, like, facts are almost irrelevant.
Yeah.
Which is very scary, right? Because at the end of the day, facts keep planes in the air, and I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
it's true. Facts are what keep planes in the air and what keep, like, bodies healthy and things like that. And we're veering into a world that is seeming to put less stock in facts than ever before, and that, I think, scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. Like, it's crazy to me that we live with the sort of weather changes that we've been living with, and somehow we still live in a world where climate change deniers exist.
Yeah.
Like, that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that debate is over as far as I'm concerned. But there has just been so much disinformation and agenda-based sort of pushing of information by people who want you to believe that climate change is not a real thing.
Yeah.
That at a point where we should be having arguments about how do we stop or reverse this, we're still stuck on, no, bhai, it's real. Trying to convince people this is still a real thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, exciting, curious, but also scary times.
Yeah.
What a hopeful note.
Yeah, I don't know what to say anymore.
See, we should not be scared of climate change and things like that.
Trump agrees with you.
Yeah, I think it's great, right? Because see, when I was growing up, there was a lot of pressure on us in our childhood, like, which is basically, तुम लोग क्या, like, future के बारे में क्या सोचा है, etc. Whatever. Today's generation is very lucky, उनका future है ही नहीं, ठीक है? So I think that is the important thing to keep in mind.
It's the takeaway.
100%. Like,
Just
I think
be hopeless.
it's full on. Like, there was a time where, like, when I was growing up, like, I got less marks in school and one other guy got, like, really good marks. उसका बहुत बाद में अच्छा placement हुआ. उसको ऐसा Bangalore में IIT job मिला. My mom was all like, see, and this, that. And it's okay. Like, 10 years later, like, in the sense, he got fired. तो अब वो Bangalore में बेचारे का job भी नहीं और पानी भी नहीं, ठीक है? तो मतलब, who was the real winner?
Yeah.
I ask in this situation.
The guy who dropped out.
Nothing is real. Nothing. But yeah.
Yeah. Rohan, how do you, my friend, unwind after hours?
How do I unwind after hours? Oh, I play video games. I read. I hang out with my friends. I love playing board games.
Yeah.
I love good food. I will travel unimaginable distances and paths for great food.
You're actually great at giving food recommendations.
Thank you. That is the nicest thing you have ever said to me.
And I will always reach out to you for different parts of at least like Bombay recommendations.
Always. I do my best. Like, I feel like one of the things, like, where I do believe, like, life is too short, is life is too short to put bad food in your mouth.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Like, it can be healthy, it can be whatever, like, but you should always, every morsel of food should bring you a certain amount of joy, is something that I firmly believe in. But overall, yeah, I mean, in a sentence, how do I unwind after hours, I think, is just in the love and joy of the people and things around me. And that is true of whether it's video games with friends or board games or just conversations or just chilling and having a drink with you or all of those many, many ways. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thanks, yo.
It sounds like a good life, actually.
It
It's
is a good life.
place.
It is a good life. I touch wood. I'm very, very happy with my life. Like, are there a few things here and there that I would possibly in the future like to change? But it's not like something that needs a complete overhaul. I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah.
I think we have good lives, Bani.
We do.
We do.
And we're both very grateful for them.
100%. And that gratitude must never go away.
And we never deny the privilege that these great lives come from.
God, sorry, I should look at it and see for the I think privilege is a thing that I have gratitude for.
Yeah.
And you too can be privileged like me.
And manifest it all.
If you just manifest it and if you just, hack your life towards it.
With 10 simple steps. Which God are you praying to? That's very important. All. Yeah. Noted. Okay, we have a last game we want to play with you, which is that you have to recommend a gift. I'm going to give you 5 people because you're actually a very generous person and you do give very, very good gifts. But you have to recommend a bad gift.
Okay, bad gift. Okay, cool. Done. Even better. Okay.
So you have to recommend a bad gift for Kullu.
A bad gift for Kullu. A bad gift for Kullu. I think a really bad gift for Kullu would be a haircut where you shave him bald. Because Kullu loves playing with his hair. I don't know whether you've noticed. Kullu loves playing with his hair. So I feel like the
He's
worst
very particular about it as well.
Exactly. Which is why I think like that would be the worst possible gift. Like give him one full like Shakal look. I think would be the worst gift for Kullu. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about Tanmay?
Oh, the worst gift for Tanmay would be if we gave him like an hour in one of those, world's quietest room. Like which is at like negative decibels. So you can like just hear your own thoughts also constantly.
Yeah.
I feel like Tanmay is a very like social and this thing person. And I think he'd lose his mind in one of those quiet rooms, like away from everybody.
Yeah, and not without his phone and stuff.
With nothing. Like just in that quiet room where you can literally hear your blood pumping. I think that would straight up drive him. Like that is just 1 hour in there is like for Tanmay, that's the equivalent of being in a Saw movie.
Or like 1 hour for him might be like 10 days of Vipassana or something.
Oh, 100%. That's it. 1 hour without his phone is like 2 years of Vipassana for Tanmay. It's like basically being in the movie Castaway. So I think so, yeah.
Yeah. What about Sumukhi?
Sumukhi. The worst gift for Sumukhi. Sumukhi, don't hate me for this. Shadi.com subscription. Please go watch her show, Hormonal, for more content.
But I've seen it live. I went to watch her and a really funny thing happened. I got a call and, the sort of opening act was going on. And, some delivery guy called me. So I went out to take the call. But as I was picking it up and I opened the doors, between the... like it was a 2-door situation. And between those 2 doors, she was waiting to enter. Like she was waiting for her cue. So I didn't know that. I opened the door and suddenly she just really startled me. And then she just looked at me and laughed. She's like, oh.
That's hilarious.
Like, sorry.
Yeah, so for Sumukhi, I think that would be a fun gift. Yeah.
What about Zakir?
Oh, that's interesting. What would be a fun gift for Zakir? Just, those books of like really tasteless, like adulterated limericks. For that, because Zakir is so like good with his shairi and his prose. Like I feel like the ultimate torture would be making him read one of those and being like, as a friend, I've given it to you, now you have to read it. I think that would be a really bad gift for Zakir.
What would be a bad gift for me?
Oh, a flat in Lodha. I think you'd be like, "Ek to tune rival se kharida." I think that would be a bad gift for you.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Or another Shadi.com
that too.
Like with a fake bio data.
मुझे ऐसे लग रहा है किसी ने बना भी दिया
Exactly. So yeah, I think flat in Lodha, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
For you.
Love it. Great. And
thank you.
Done free SEO for somebody else.
Hold on, for somebody else. But
say ATS also, na?
ATS. Yes. ATS properties only. Number 1 properties in, say, where? Greater Noida.
North India.
North India, number one. Like
मैं इसे काट के अभी ATS के पेज पे डालूंगी ना.
800% full on ATS properties, number one best, because who would you trust to build properties more than the anti-terror squad of India? ATS properties, number one properties.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rohan. It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
Always.
And I've really enjoyed our friendship.
Yes, as I don't say I've enjoyed our friendship like it's ending right now.
No. As
Like,
in,
yeah, I continue to
I
enjoy
continue
our
to
friendship.
enjoy our friendship. I
Yes.
genuinely, when I come here, I look forward to seeing you.
Same, actually. I'm always happy when you're in town. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you.
Yeah, and I adore you. I think you're a great guy.
Same. I adore you also. And again, I'm saying that genuinely.
Yeah.
It is always, I don't think I've ever had like a bad time hanging out with you or felt like, okay, now I want this evening to end or whatever.
Yeah.
You're a delightful person to hang out with.
Thanks, man. You too.
Mutual Admiration Society.